Good morning, everybody, and you have clocked into Clutter Talk Live with Elaine McKinlay and Clara Moore and me, Dr. Zem Moffat. I am just going to unmute and start the video for Clara and Elaine, and we're very excited. We're very excited to have everybody involved, and I'm going to have to I'm still getting used to the technical stuff. So my iPad is now making a lot of noise, so I'm going to shut it up, but there we go. But welcome, ladies. How are you both this morning?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, really good.
So Elaine, what's your week included?
So this week, I've done my mindfulness every morning. We had a great practice this morning about letting go. So that's really quite apt for our show. And I've read a couple of books this week, one on minimalism and one on Swedish art of decluttering. So that's a couple of positive things I've done this week. I've had some lovely walks and I've had great chats with the family. And also this week, I tried to run a quiz for the family, a musical quiz where I would play a kazoo and I would play the song, and the people would, the rest of the family were to try to decide what the song was. Let me tell you, I'm not very good on the kazoo because nobody seemed to know what I was talking about. So that was my exciting things that happened through the week.
Brilliant, Elaine. And actually just checking in, Elaine, how, because you were suffering with some sort of visual stuff before in a couple of episodes ago, how's how are you managing that with the screen and things?
So I don't know if anybody else is suffering from this. It's called like a visual vertigo. It's basically because the screen is moving fast, and if you're not used to sitting on screens, that a lot of people like myself are not used to sitting in front of a computer screen. So I've got a little bit of that where my eyes are trying to adjust. So I am monitoring that, and what I'm doing is I am looking away from the screen for 20 seconds and then coming back. So if I look away, I'm not that I'm not listening, it's just that I'm giving my eyes a little rest. So please forgive me for that at the moment.
Excellent. We'll consider forgiving you. We'll see how that goes.
Okay, cool.
Clara, how's your week been?
It's been good, yeah. I've been doing gardening. I was given a lawnmower by my mum, so I've been doing gardening and encouraging the kids to join in with that, which they've been thrilled about. Not very much, but yeah. And other than that, like Elaine, I've been doing a bit of reading. So I've been reading a book called Life Tonics by Judy Shields, which just encourages you to use different practices like mindfulness, having good sleep patterns. And tomorrow is my birthday, and also it's the 30th anniversary of my dad's death. So I don't know about other people, but I always use this time of the year around about my birthday to look at my habits and my life. And so I've been looking at what sort of parent I am and what sort of parents my parents were and what habits I want to keep and what I want to change going forward. So it's been a very reflective week for me, quite a still internal week, but also with fun. A friend dropped round a chocolate cake, Prosecco and chocolates and a birthday present for me yesterday. So that was lovely. Chocolate cake in the nicely mown garden with cream.
Yeah, lovely.
Gosh, wow. Tomorrow is going to be quite a big day.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be 49, but I'm looking on the positive sides because for the last few years, my family members and my son have been away on my birthday. And this year, although we won't be together, all of us, we will be in the same country, in the same city. And that's kind of quite lovely for me. And my sister's making me a pavlova, strawberry pavlova. So
my mum loves pavlova. It's like her favorite thing. Wow.
How about you then? How's your week been?
Yeah, my week's been I think pretty good. After the show last week, what was lovely was that we had a couple of new members to Clutter Chat. And so really kind of working with the Zoom model and how it works, and realizing that we're able to welcome in people who haven't been able to come for either, for many different reasons, either sort of physical reasons or just social anxiety and other things, but they can now join in sort of through a screen. And so actually it's opening up new opportunities for the Clutter Chat group, and we've been training people up to be online facilitators, and people that have come have said it's a nice, warm and welcoming environment, which is brilliant to have been able to mimic that online to what we do with tea and cake, because I was always kind of a big supporter of tea and cake as one of the real important factors in Clutter Chat. And so it's great that we're able to somehow mimic that sort of. So that's been really good news that's been happening. Oh, and I went to a way back when, about 20 odd years ago, I went to a United World College with people from all around the world, and I studied in Hong Kong. And what's been great is that I've started a Zoom meetup for people from my class, and sort of connecting with people from sort of Venezuela and New Zealand, and one of them's going to bed, the other one's waking up, and you're seeing them and they're all in some kind of lockdown, and being able to compare the different countries' approaches in different times, and realizing that Zoom can collapse geography, but it can't collapse time zones. So you're never going to get everybody in the same room. So, but that's been a real joy, reconnecting with that part of myself from 20 years ago, and being able to use Zoom and the new technology. I feel like an advert for Zoom now, but that to be able to do that, and it's quite amazing. So yeah, and physically been pretty well, emotionally been pretty steady. So that's I'm very fortunate for that.
Oh,
great. Yeah. The sunshine is helping us, let's say, in Scotland here. We don't usually get as much sunshine as this, so we are really making the most of it. I think people are out doing lots of exercise, and it's just nice to be outside, isn't it? So we are very, very lucky that the weather has been good, which has helped us all.
Definitely.
And today, Clara, do you want to talk us a bit through our programme for today, because you're quite central to it?
Okay, so today we're going to do a bit of folding, and my lovely assistant Jack, my son, is going to hopefully hold the screen at a good angle that you'll be able to see, because it's a bit difficult to fold and film at the same time. We're going to have a lovely guest on, David, who I have worked with for over a year. We work infrequently and for short amounts of time. Elaine and Zem and I were talking earlier about how people have different levels of tolerance for organising and decluttering, and for David, he enjoys up to an hour and a half, not beyond that. Beyond that, he'll say himself, he gets a bit grumpy and demotivated. So for you at home, and for each of us, it's tuning in to when is the right time for you, and how much time is right for you before you just tip over into feeling demotivated. So David will be joining us, and he'll be speaking a bit about how he's finding his home in this period of lockdown, having reaped the benefits of previous work done on his home, and the new habits that he has and which ones he might take forward after the lockdown finishes. And Elaine will be introducing us and speaking about ABDO, the Association of Professional Organisers and Declutterers, where you can find declutterers all over the UK. And we might, if there's time at the end, have a chat about in a bit more detail about the books that we've been reading this week. Same.
Sounds good, Clara. Really looking forward to meeting David on screen and to hearing his opinion on working with you, which is always what I'm interested in, how it's helped and the challenges, and also the folding. I'm quite interested in. I've got a scarf that I'm like, which is like, well, you know, it's a lovely silk scarf, but it's a bit floppy. So I'm kind of interested to see how I can actually fold it properly. Elaine, is there anything that you're particularly, I know what we should do. We should say that if people want to have any questions, so this is what we're going to cover, but if you've got something else, then at the bottom of my screen, kind of here, there should be a text number, which is also comes through to my backup phone. And the text number is 077 265 30217. That's 077 265 30217. So please feel free to text in at any time with a question. And also, Elaine, I'm going to give this job to her. We'll be keeping an eye on the YouTube comments. So you can also comment on YouTube and ask questions, and we'll try and keep a look at that as well.
I was just putting that on just now. Sorry about the interruption. I hadn't turned my volume down.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on that just now, and there's a couple of comments coming up about keeping in touch with friends overseas from Jocelyn, comparing lockdown in different countries, which is really, really interesting because I have a son who is actually in Sweden at the moment. He lives and works in Sweden, and their whole approach to this situation is totally different from the way we are doing. So he's going off out camping this weekend, and I'm just like, oh dear, you know, because we're getting told one thing and they're getting told something else. So it's very interesting to hear every different country's ideas on that. And also another comment about, you know, bereavement anniversaries, which, you know, some people can become affected by, but also maybe about the items around that, maybe a loved one that's passed, etc. So that's another thing that we can talk about maybe either in this program or in another program. So will I just tell everybody who's joined us just a little bit about us in case they don't know who we are?
Yeah. Yes, please do.
Okay, so I am Elaine McKinlay of Clear Mountain Decluttering and Lifestyle Organising. And on the show today, we have Clara from Joy of Space and Dr. Moffat of Insightful Moves. And we are all professional organisers and members of ABTO, the Association of Professional Declutterers and Organisers. And there are about 300 of us independent companies working throughout the UK and Ireland. And we all specialise in something a little bit different. So if you are looking for a declutter, you would go onto the ABTO website at www.abto.co.uk and pop in your postcode, and you'll find the nearest decluttering company beside you. And also what that does is it details the specialists that the actual company deal with. So we all specialize in something a little bit different. And people call us the dream team because we bring all different aspects of knowledge and skills to our little group. So I am, Clara, Zem's put up our little universal card there, the decluttering dream team. That's what we're called as a group. So I specialize in decluttering, lifestyle motivation. I'm a motivational coach. Clara is a trained in the KonMari method of tidying, and Clara goes out to families and individuals and helps them set up their home and lifestyle and offices, etc. And Dr. Zem is a resident anthropologist who is the founder of Clutter Chat, which is the basis of what we are doing now, bringing like-minded people together to talk over clutter and organising, and she is very good at connecting people. So she is our resident anthropologist. So you may have seen us or heard us on BBC Radio Scotland at the Ideal Home Show presenting on the Super Theatre stage, or you may have come to one of our courses at the University of Strathclyde's Lifelong Learning Centre. And we are also out in the community doing workshops, etc. So you may have met us in person, and if you haven't, then we hope to meet you in person at some point. We may also have been in your homes at some point. And this was the ethos of bringing our group together here, that you could see us in our homes, because we may have already seen you in yours. So from our home to you. We love a chat, and that's basically what we are doing here. We are a little bit crazy, so please forgive us for that. But we like to keep things light-hearted, even when
we like a bit of a blether, don't we? We like a bit of a blether.
Yeah, we do. We like a bit of a blether, and I think Zem's got a nice slogan: intelligent tea drinking, and we love to have a cup of tea together. So we would invite you to grab a cup of coffee and sit with us for the next hour and take on our little chat. Actually,
Cheers,
mine's just gone to the kitchen to get washed, so sorry about that.
Cheers.
So I think we'll start or kick things off with Clara, who's going to take us through some KonMari methods of tidying. So over to you, Clara.
Over to you, Clara.
I'll just call my son, sorry.
That's okay.
This is a well-organised programme. And in the waiting room, we have...
He's just coming. What I've got today is I've got an outfit in blue, an outfit in pink, pinky red. I've got some scarves. I've got some hanging things, and I've got a sheet. So Jack, can you shut that door just please? Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask Jack if he can, maybe if you hold this up, then people will be able to see more easily. Hold the screen up, will you? Just hold it here.
And I see you've got a fitted sheet there, Clara, which is really tricky. I mean, what do you do with it? How on earth do you fold a fitted sheet?
So you bring the corners, well, what I do is I bring the corners together, put your hand inside one and then the other. And so, as if you're putting a glove on, I guess. A glove, a mitt, a thumbless mitt. And if you shake these bits out, so you've got it like this with the corners all put together, then bring the two remaining corners together, and I just grab the other bits. Do you see that?
Yep.
Now, Jack, can you tilt that down the way, honey? So then I would just do this. So I'm laying it flat and you can either leave it depends if you're putting it in your pillowcase, then you can just fold it over like this. Can you see that? And then you can put it in your pillowcase. Jack's hair's in this shot. So there you are, you can do that. Or if you want it to be smaller than that, you can fold it in half. It depends on what way you're storing them, and fold it in half again, just leaving a couple of inches here at the end and then folding it in thirds if you want. If you were, say, for example, going to put it in a storage basket rather than something else. So that's your folded sheet.
So Clara, to clarify that, we tried to make it into a square first, and then we tried to make it into a rectangle, and then we fold from there.
I don't tend to store like that. I don't like it. I just tend to store, so I would be folding this in and folding down, and so really you're making it the small and flat like that.
Yep.
And then I put it inside the pillowcase that matches the sheet. Or you could stand it up if you like in a bigger basket. Yep. So do you want me to go over it again, or are you happy with that one?
I think, let me just check and see if everybody's had a good look at that. No.
So what you're doing is you're gathering all the corners together and then putting the remaining 2 corners together.
Yep.
So you're ending up like that. Jack, can
Great.
you sit down a wee bit, honey? So
That's it.
yeah, and then it's just whatever suits you. I tend to go like this and go folding over like that. You can folding over, but you can also just fold it in towards each other. It's whatever depth, whatever width suits you best.
Yeah, I think because a lot of people find that the fitted sheets are hard to fold into a square like that because they've obviously got the ruffled bits. So the key is to basically get them into...
Key is to put all the corners together. Now, as you can see, I don't iron. If you ironed, that would be much easier for you. But I don't iron because by the time you've smoothed that out, my kids are not used to iron things anyway. Zem was asking about... She was asking about scarves. No, don't turn it around, Jack. You're fine. I'll come to you. So you can either store, maybe just tilt it up like that. You can either store scarves on the hanger with the outfit that they'll go with.
Right.
Or you can store them in a box. Now, Zen was saying that she had one that was quite silky. This is not silk. I'm not as posh as them with my scarf. This is just, I think actually this is a Vicos mix. So what you would do is if you were wanting to store it round with the outfit it went with, you could fold it and put it over the hanger so that it folds down like that. Or if you're wanting to put it in the box, so you would fold it until you get a shape like that, fold it in again. Can you tilt it down, honey? And then put it in half and fold it into thirds. And then you can put it back in your box. So I've folded that to fit that particular box.
Oh, Clara, sorry, can we do that again? Just because I was just trying to get
Sure.
David's about to join in the waiting room, and I was just fiddling around.
This is actually a scarf like that you can put on. So again, you could... I've
got my scarf.
You can store it on your hanger, or... So this one, Zem, is a... So I would fold this particular one in half. So fold, if you fold yours in half, and then use a flat surface and lay it down and smooth it out. And this one I'm going to fold in half again, and then half like this. I'm going to fold it like that because it's a different type of a scarf, and then I can put it in my box.
Yeah, mine's quite a long scarf, so I'm going to...
No, Jack.
I've quartered it.
You want your water? I prefer you don't drink your water when you've got the computer.
While you're doing that and Zem's practicing there, we've got Jocelyn who's saying the folding of the sheets looks complicated. I have trouble putting duvet covers on, so I'm challenged in the spatial folding department. So that is something that a lot of people experience as well. Jocelyn,
It's difficult to show you. It's easier to show you in person. While you're doing that, I can show you
Clara, how is my folding, Clara?
That looks good, Sam.
Oh, looks good, yeah.
Okay. Start very good with some.
It stands up a little bit.
Sorry.
Suddenly is a pair of trousers. So you would put the trousers together and then fold in the area. I don't know a politer word than crotch area. So and then fold this down to the end, the legs. just leave a small gap, and the reason you leave the small gap is so it isn't as bumpled, so it's smoother. And then fold in thirds, one so it stands up like a wee parcel, and then you can put it in, and you can either store all your trousers together. This is a different pair of trousers that is, Jack, darling, you need to just hold it. Thank you, baby. So this is a wide leg trouser, but again, you can make it to the same, you'll be 2 minutes, Jack. You can make it to the same width, and just fold it in so that you've got a uniform shape. So, and then again, fold towards the waistline, but leave a couple of inches and fold in thirds. And then you have another wee parcel, so it's a different shape of trouser, but it fits in the same space.
Ah,
great. That's great.
Examples of
Leslie's on here, Clara, and she's saying that's brilliant. I have always struggled with fitted sheets, and I'm able to do it. To be able to do it yourself is great. So that's fantastic. I think she's going to try that out rather than getting her husband to help her. So that's good. We've helped a few people this morning, so that's fantastic.
I like
a top. I'll show you a top. So again, smooth out. Now the top folds in the way, so you're folding into halfway. And what I mean by that is the center line of the top, so down the central line. So fold into halfway and fold the sleeve back in itself. Fold the other half in, smooth it out, fold the sleeve back in itself, bring the neck. You're nearly done, Jack. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much, Jack.
And leave again a couple of inches, and then fold in thirds. And there you have a lovely wee parcel.
Brilliant. We have a beautiful assistant in Jack there helping us out this morning. Well done, Jack.
With the outfit you want to wear it with, or you can store all your t-shirts together. If you're doing a longer sleeve one, again, folding into the middle. This way is as if you're giving an old-fashioned left or right indication. So put the sleeve out and fold the sleeve back in itself. Folding the other side over, the arm out straight, folding back in itself. The neckline down, leaving a couple of inches, folding into thirds, and there you've got your wee parcel. So
brilliant.
Together. And what that lets you do is it lets you clearly identify. Thank you, Jack. This is Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
So what that lets you do is it lets you identify what you have easily, and it lets you also check, are things bobbled, are they needing repaired? It lets you smooth them out. You don't have to iron as much. Just to say to you, these are the hangers that Elaine and Zem and I speak about, the very thin velvet coated ones. You can fit about 4 of these into the depth of a normal hanger. You can have, there's different colours, and it's just lovely uniformity to have everything at the same height. So and that's another way you can store a scarf if you prefer to store outfits that go together, because sometimes when you have all your scarves together, we were talking about that earlier, you can't instantly identify one, so you might not wear it. And I was talking to a client yesterday, a male client who had helped him do his bedroom and do his folding, do a wardrobe consultation with him, and he said what he used to do is just wash and fold and put things back flat inside the drawer, and so he would only wear 10% of what he had because he'd just wear what was at the top. Whereas what he does now, because they're all stored like this, he can see what he has and he wears most of his wardrobe now, and he knows what he needs to replace.
I think that's a statistical fact, Clara. I think that everybody only wears about 10% of their wardrobe. So, I mean, if we can find the other things in our wardrobe, then, you know, we've obviously got a much better idea of, or we can see them better in our wardrobe, sorry. We've got a better idea of what we've got, and we probably want to use other things more. So
Yeah.
it's
And you
brilliant.
can store your jewellery that way as well, with the outfit you might want to wear it with.
Yeah.
I'm getting a call from David, who's due to join us.
Yeah, he's messaged. I've emailed him the meeting invitation.
Yes.
I just did it just now. So has he got problems joining us? Could you just text in the chat window as well, Clara? I've put down the meeting ID that he needs. For everybody else, this is our next guest, who's David, who will hopefully technically be able to join us soon. I really liked Clara. You know, we just had a text through actually from someone who said never thought of folding trousers. And I'm a big folding trousers, particularly if you kind of fold the crotch in, so it makes it nice and sort of rectangular. Yeah. It's a really good idea. And skirts, and I fold pretty much everything now. And it's very good because you can see, like when I wake up in the morning, I can see everything and choose what I want to wear. So I highly recommend it. It might not suit you for every garment, but it is very, very useful. Clara, do we have an update on David?
I was just waiting for him. I messaged him to say, did he get the link? He's not. He asks, can you send the Zoom link?
Yeah, I emailed it to him about 5 minutes ago. Okay. Which is why I was off screen for a bit. Okay. But I can do it again.
So all these technical problems are happening there. I'll let the girls figure that out while we're waiting for David. So yeah, going back to taking up room in your wardrobe, I think the girls and I would probably find that most people who get us in to do any wardrobe decluttering, you know, when you initially open those wardrobe doors, the clothes are virtually coming out at you. I mean, absolutely coming out. And people just do not realize how much stuff they have. And I think the fact that if you can go through the wardrobe and maybe have 10, 5 or 10 black t-shirts that are exactly the same shape, exactly the same size, and you think, why have I bought 5 of them? And that's because basically we can't find them and we think we haven't got it. So we go out and buy another t-shirt or blouse or whatever it is to go with an outfit. But as Clara said, what a great way of setting up your wardrobe in outfits. Mm-hmm. So that they've got the trouser, skirt or whatever together, the shirt, the t-shirt, the scarf, and the maybe the jewelry together. It's so much easier. It's so much easier if you're going to work as well to just grab that, and just put that whole outfit on. Do you think that happens quite a lot, Clara, once you've been in and helped?
Yeah. When you're saying someone having 5 black t-shirts, I did work, the person I worked with, he's actually a lead singer in a band, and he had over 200 t-shirts, and he's had quite a lot of band t-shirts, but he was astounded when we gathered all of his t-shirts together, how many he actually had. And that's another good reason. With clothing, I would say gather subcategories, so gather tops or t-shirts, but gather it all together because it lets you see how much you have. But yeah, I would say that people definitely really connect with their clothes. It can be very emotional and very uplifting because your clothes hold your history, they hold your story. It's not just that top, it's that top you might have graduated in, that top somebody asked you to be their boyfriend or girlfriend in, that top you had an argument with someone in. So clothes hold our history as well. I meant to say, for bag storage, this makes me so happy, my pom-pom bag. But to optimize your storage and keeping like with like, in here I actually have 2 other bags, but more could be fitted in. So I've got a summer seasonal bag, which I'll be using shortly. I've got another, this is more an autumnal summer bag. So, and as you can see, there's still more room in there. So that's sitting in the cupboard. It could be sitting empty, but it's not. It's got 2 bags in it. So use the storage you've got. Keep like with like. And for shoes, there's an example of storing summer sandals. But I'll actually also use these boxes to store old diaries that I like to keep, or out of season clothes. So there's all different ways we can store.
And we have David's now in the waiting room, so we'll let him in shortly. And we have another text saying, and seeing the little tip of leaving a couple of inches when folding is very useful. And I wholeheartedly agree. If you just leave a little bit more space than you think you need, and it takes care of the folding and the space it takes to fold. Yeah. So we have David in the waiting room. This is very exciting. It's lovely to have people. So I'll admit him shortly. But Clara, if you want to just say a little bit and welcome him.
So I would like to welcome David. David is a lovely gentleman who had a past experience of working with a declutterer who worked with him to do a big decluttering. And when David contacted me, it was to look at habits and helpful habits, as well as continuing with a little bit of decluttering work. And David and I worked together infrequently for smaller amounts of time, and we laugh a lot during our sessions as well. So welcome, David.
Welcome, David. Do you want to, I'll let Clara interview you, but just tell us a little bit about how you found Clara and what inspired you to get in touch and how you found the process.
David needs to
unmute
unmute
to you,
himself.
David. Unmute. We're waiting for David to unmute. He's working it out.
I'll message him.
It's all right. I think he's on it. I think he's trying to figure it out. Dun, 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 dun. I'll just sing whilst we wait. Sorry, guys.
Right, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
I wonder, with the singing happy birthday, people singing happy birthday to time the amount of hand washing they're doing. Yeah. I wonder how much that's going to trigger people to go and wash their hands every time they hear that, an urge to put the hand sanitizer on or run to the bathroom and wash their hands.
He's on. He's on. He's on.
David.
Yeah,
hey, welcome, David.
Good morning, everyone. I'm hearing Clara's explanation on the YouTube channel. So are there two things going on simultaneously?
Basically it's a delay. Yeah.
If
so
you
it's
turn
going live,
volume
but there's a delay.
down on your YouTube, if you just turn your volume down on your YouTube.
Well, Clara, I wouldn't like to turn the volume down on you. That'd be very rude.
Please do. Yeah, no, please do. Yeah.
Please do.
Right, okay.
Folding of the sheets looks cool.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just a delay, David. Over to you.
Okay. Now I don't know where I am. I've seemed to have lost the Zoom meeting as well.
You know you're here, you're live, and you're on screen, and you're televising to the world.
Well.
Give us, just speak from the heart, David, speak from the heart.
Just a normal day at the office then. I don't know, could maybe Clara or somebody give me a question to bat off? You know what I mean?
Yes, Zem was saying earlier on, just how did you find me particularly, and what inspired you to get in touch with me particularly?
Right. Well, first of all, good morning, everybody. I've been working with Clara now longer than I can remember. I honestly can't remember when we first started working together, Clara. I don't know whether you can, but as I was saying in another context the other day, with no disrespect, Clara is my third declutterer. I've been at this for yonks. And before that, being an academic at uni, and if you've ever been in an academic study, you will know that some of them are hilarious. I mean, they're so cluttered, it's actually a point of hilarity. Although the academic concern will know exactly where to find any given piece of paper if he's asked for it. It's uncanny. So I've been at this for decades. And, you know, and the truth of the matter is, I genuinely can't remember who recommended Clara to me or where I got your reference from, Clara. Can you?
I'm not sure if you'd said it was either through my website or the signage on my car.
Maybe. I think it was pretty random. I like serendipity as a way of living, so it could well have been, but it would have been a very fortuitous serendipity. And I think Clara's been magnificent and has not only given me tremendous support in terms of decluttering, but it's kind of moved into other areas too, which I hadn't really anticipated, which is sort of recommendations for other people to come in and do other specific jobs in the flat, and to actually even sort of assist me with some of my chaotic administration. So it's transcended just simply, you know, putting bits of paper or bits of clothing into neater piles or deciding what to throw out.
And you're saying it's, so since we've worked together, you have a different cleaner in your house, because when we started working together, you'd said that the previous cleaner, you didn't feel, perhaps you didn't feel as if you were coming in and your house was sparkling and you were noticing that it'd been cleaned.
Yeah, I mean, this is a kind of an embarrassment to admit that I have a domestic cleaner, although the last 7 or 8 weeks have been a real challenge, and I can't wait for Jennifer to resume her work. I'm actually was talking, I think it was to you, Clara, the other day about when we thought it might be safe. Apparently in England, there's been a buried in the fine print, there's been something which says that if people have domestic help in the house, for whatever reason, in my case, it's just sheer bloody laziness, but in other cases, it may be more for need, and that is something which can now happen again under the English relaxation. But somebody that was commenting on that on the telly the other day said, yeah, but you really want someone that's been in several different houses coming to your home and so on. Mm-hmm. So anyway, at the moment, I'm trying to mend and make do myself. But yeah, so I would love her to come back. And again, Clara, you know, it was you that I think was making the point, not me. I've got a very great tolerance for low standards, and you don't, rightly. And I think you had noticed that there was dust here, and that the carpet hadn't been lifted, and you know, the rug hadn't been lifted, and that kind of thing. So it was very much you that came up with this helpful guide. You know, do I come in? Not that I go out now, but do I come back in and say, my God, the place looks and smells absolutely fresh and sparkling?
Mm-hmm. That was one area that we spoke about, and another area was you had outstanding repairs that you had been thinking about getting done in your house.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, as some of you in the room know, I mean, I've got 2 focal points at the moment. One is to get a very, very long in the tooth delayed elective surgery on my knee, which is causing me significant discomfort and related discomfort every single day, which is neither here nor there. That's nothing to do with decluttering. But the other is that because I'm 2 up without a lift, my children have prevailed on me to move onto the ground floor or onto a block of flats which has a lift, or you know, and so the as I call it rudely, the tarting up of the place was being done, and thankfully got it 97% finished just before the lockdown, to, you know, do jobs around the house, redecorate, other more significant restructuring things. And I owe everything to Clara again, because it was her recommendation that produced the guy who came, and he turned out to be a real godsend. So it's as much Clara's contacts that I've relied on. You know, for example, in the context of moving, but not only moving, we were looking through my so-called library, and again, just before the lockdown, 12 bags worth of books left this flat to go to Oxfam to be sold on there, you know. And she also introduced me to a woman who buys books for reselling in her secondhand bookshop. So, you know, these are all contacts that have, you know, come through Clara. So I owe her a huge amount for that too.
David, I have a question. As an academic, how was it divesting yourself of your books?
Right. This business of divesting, as I say, literally goes back to about the 80s and 90s when I had an office at Glasgow University. I've not had an office anywhere since the year 2000, since I took early retirement. I would say that the great sort of takeaway has been that, well, there's two aspects. One is that I tended to keep things on the grounds that I never knew when it might just be useful for me to say to a student who was discussing a piece of work at any level, oh, I've got exactly the thing that I think would be good for you. So I used to keep tons of stuff, not for me, but in the grounds that they might come in handy for a student. So that's one aspect of being an academic. The other point, and this is really to answer your question, Zem, is that I've discovered that when things have left the flat or have been ripped up, minutes later, I don't even remember what they were. I haven't had a moment's concern. I've not had a moment's concern about anything. There's nothing that I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I wish I hadn't let that go, or I feel terrible because that's gone out the house. And I don't know if that's typical or not, but I say to people who are concerned about things like that, the chances are there's a chance. It will, of course, differ with the person and personality and all the rest of it, but there's a chance that what you've let go, albeit with some emotional distress, as Clara will testify to, that there's sometimes I've had to sort of say, Clara, that's enough for today. I can't go on anymore. But when it's left the premises, either in the bin or in the shredder or physically, as in the case of these books, minutes later, I don't even remember that they were here, for which I'm very pleased, for which I'm very grateful.
I think that's very interesting. And I'd like to ask Elaine, David, if you'll stay in on the chat for a little bit, because Elaine's been reading a book which might have, and from your experience, Elaine, as well, about clearing. What are your responses to what David said and shared?
Yeah, what I've been reading is the Margareta Magnusson book. It's called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, and that sounds quite horrible, death cleaning, but actually, basically, it's a downsizing sort of a kind of cultural thing that they have in Sweden, where they get to a sort of certain age and they start to let things go from their home so that their children are not left with having to deal with all of that. And the process is a very nice, and it's a very gentle, it's specifically called the gentle art, because it is a very gentle process. It is over, as David said, a number of years at your own pace, just gently letting go of items. And the great thing about it is it's about us as individuals talking to our children or our friends or people like that about these items, and when you're trying to let it go, saying, would anybody really like this? This gave me joy or sparked joy, like Clara said. This sparked joy for me when I was younger, maybe not so much now. Was there anybody who you know, or would any of the children or what like this? So you're having a discussion, you're starting a discussion very, very early when you're still fit and healthy and able to do it, because quite a lot of people wait till they're slightly infirm or having to move to a smaller place, and it's all a very rushed sort of experience, and it's stressful at that point. Mm-hmm. So in Swedish culture, they start with this quite early. I'm 57, so maybe I should be starting to give away things. So maybe that's what we'll do. But basically, you start to gently give things away or let go of items that are no longer needed in your home or spark joy as such anymore. So, and what it does is it leaves it when it comes to the point when your children or your friends or anybody else like that has to deal with your home later on, that they don't have that stress of, I wonder if I should keep it, I wonder if it's something I need to keep to pass on to the next sort of people, because a discussion has happened. And you know the story of the item. So there might be something from a great grandmother way back, and it's been passed through the the family. But maybe my children don't know the story. So at this point, I would be saying, well, this is something that's been passed through the family, and this is the significance of it. Now, I'm asking you, would you like to take it and carry this on, or do you think we should donate it to somebody else? But the conversation has started, and it's just so much gentler. And it's also, it goes back to the Vikings. When the Vikings lived in the long houses, when they died, they were buried with all their possessions, and that was to take them to Valhalla. But also, it was also the fact that it was a decluttering exercise for the longhouse, basically, because you couldn't keep all the items from everybody that had sadly passed. So it's a really good cultural thing that maybe we should think about here, you know, in Britain or any other countries like that. It's just something. Yeah, it's about this stuff.
Just to interrupt, I can see David nodding quite a lot. So I'd be interested, because we've only got like 10 minutes left of the program, but David, I'd be interested to, what is it that seems to be chiming with you?
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Zem. First of all, I think Valhalla, I think you get a number 37 to Valhalla, don't you? The temple at Shores Road. I'm in my 70s, and definitely one of the recenter motivations has been preparing for death, even before the virus. But in the context of the virus, as I've been saying in other contexts, my GP daughter and I have been working on me sending her lists of names of people to inform when I die that she wouldn't know about, because I've got a lot of what she calls randoms, people that I know but she doesn't know. Tarting up my or improving or modernizing my will, making sure that there was a valid power of attorney for the children, etc., etc. So I'm very focused on this issue of the kids not having a lot or as little to deal with when they have to come to clear out whether I'm still here at the time, which at the moment looks likely, or if I've moved to another retirement flat, which is another possibility soon. So yeah, a project that concerns a long dead Swedish guy from the middle of the 18th century. So I've spent a lot of time in Sweden and with Swedes, and so I'm very sensitive to their attitudes and their culture. So thanks for raising that, Elaine.
Yeah, I've got some comments actually coming up on the chat. Sorry, Clara, just on that. So someone's asking if we could have some wee bit more details of that, the book. And the other thing is a lady's come on and said, my grandmother used to give me something each time I visited, 1 or 2 times a week. Easier to give it to me than to throw it out herself. Yes, that can happen. We can say that that does happen. But, you know, you have to be able to say, no, thank you. It's very lovely, but no, sorry, Clara, back to you.
What I'll do is I'll find, the book is called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, and I'll just find a web link and I'll screen share shortly. And also the other book, Clara, you mentioned was Life Tonics, and who was that by?
Life Tonics by Jodie Shields. I don't have it because I've sent it on to my friend.
That's fine. I'll see if I can find a screen grab.
Shield. But what I was going to say was that a client I worked with invited me in to work with her because she wanted to have a good death. She wanted to, she's in her 70s, and she explained to me she wanted to enjoy the life she was living, but also have a good death and not leave lots of work behind for other people. And certainly as a person, with my father dying at 19, my sister was abroad and my mum wasn't able to deal with his home. They were divorced, separated. So I was left to deal with my father's home and all of his possessions. So it's been something I've always been really mindful of. And it's a conversation that's easily discussed in my home. Death, the kids don't shy away from it. It's just, we talk about people that are living, we talk about people that are dead. And through one of Zem's friends, there was actually a death cafe, which is something probably more in Sweden that they have, but it was in the Milk Cafe in the south side of Glasgow. They had a death cafe evening where you went along, and it was beautiful. It was people from all different nationalities, all different ages, all of whom either had been affected by death, either death of loved ones, near-death experiences, or just fear of death, or growing up in a culture, a family where death wasn't spoken about and there was a real sense of fear. So I think it's a really important topic. And I think particularly at this time, it's good for us all to think about things that we want our family and loved ones to know, and can they access that information? Should we keep it in a notebook or a clear folder? But things that are practical that we would like people to know, but also things I've written to my children, love letters, ever since they were in the womb. And I have a book that I write in, so that there's bits of me that I'm sharing with them that they can have now, or they can have when they're 16 or 21. So how do you want your life to be experienced by people? And that's really an important point you brought up today, David, and Elaine as well.
Yeah, I think we'd like to say thank you very much, David, for joining us on Clutter Talk. And is there anything that you'd like to add before we let you go and wrap up the show? Or anything that Elaine or Clara would like to add? You need to unmute yourself.
You need to unmute, yeah.
Gone.
Yeah, is that all good, David? Is there anything more that you'd like to say? All good. Well, thank you very much. That is absolutely brilliant. And I am going to, there we go. I found the references online to the book, so I'm going to share the screens with the books that we've spoken about. So the first one is The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning.
Yeah.
You see that, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one is the Life Tonics. Clara, do you want to speak a little bit about Life Tonics? Jodie Shields?
It's a book by a girl who she felt a bit lost in her life and was a bit skeptical about spirituality and meditation and mindfulness. And through a series of events, she came to understand that these were really important things. And so she speaks all over the world, and she has these life tonics, which are about sleeping better, about saying no to other people so that you're saying yes to yourself, about more deeply knowing yourself, about looking at your relationship with yourself, with your parents, with how things that challenge us about other people might be mirrored information about ourselves that we need to work on. So it's just gentle little life tonics that you can work on.
I'll share the link to that now, and then after that I'll share the link to the Death Cafe that David also mentioned, which Clara and I have been to, and that is something as well to check out in your local area. And I see that they're doing something specifically related to COVID-19, so I will put both of those up now. So this is where my technical thing, oh, there we go. That's the Life Tonic, and the Death Cafe is coming up shortly. Here we go. Welcome to Death Cafe, which is quite a strong name, but I would very much endorse them as a safe space to speak quite candidly and comfortably about death. Mm-hmm. So here we go.
The two guaranteed things, life and death. The two things we'll all experience in the world.
There we go. And as Clara was saying, yes, the two things that we are guaranteed to, about living and dying. And on that wonderful note,
on that happy note.
Yeah, what an amazing live session we've had. So this is our 6th, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And next time we're hoping we have some other ideas for guests. We're thinking of maybe having an estate agent, maybe someone from APDO, and I am going to actually let Elaine wrap this one up.
Okay. So yeah, we've covered a lot of subjects today, mainly about you know, the decluttering doesn't always just mean items. It can mean decluttering things within your life, your lifestyle, thinking ahead a little bit, getting yourself you know, organized for when you're later on in life. Also, we've looked at beautiful ways of folding our clothes with the KonMari tidying methods, which Clara is our expert on. And we have just enjoyed having you have a cup of coffee with us and a chat with us. So I think we probably wrap it up now, and we'll probably just finish with a big happy birthday to Clara tomorrow.
And a happy birthday to you on Saturday.
No, next week. I'm another week away, so sorry about that.
Okay.
But yeah, so hope you have a lovely day tomorrow. And let's hope that the sun keeps shining for us here in Scotland and keeps us going, because definitely that's carrying us along through this, and let's hope we're not in lockdown for too long. If you would like to get in touch with any of us, you can see below we have our email addresses or our company addresses in the screen there. If you'd like to join more like-minded people, then pop along to Clutter Chat and register there with Zem and her group. We are also doing virtual decluttering, all of us. So if you would like to contact us, if you are interested in a session in that way where we talk you through some techniques specifically for you, then please feel free to contact us there. Or if you just want to chat and you're looking for something a little bit different, then why not give us a call? You know, we're here, we're listening ears. But thank you very much for joining us today. And it was a really good session, really interesting to hear how David was getting on with Clara. So back to you, Zem, to wrap us up.
That's it. Let's just happy birthday, Clara, and we'll see you all next week. Cheerio.
Cool. See you.
Bye.
Bye.